Sup peoples, and welcome back to another video. This is the first in a new series I'm going to be having on my channel, which is the writing of my novel codenamed Project Eros. And so I thought that we could declutter my room a little bit and I could tell you about it and get you all up to speed. You might be like, what clutter? I will now show you what clutter. It's just a mess. It's a mess. It is. And I didn't realize that till I walked in here to film, and I was like, it's gonna be nice and aesthetic, and it's not nice or aesthetic. And I think we should change that before we continue. So my first task is to tackle these clothes, which is, yeah, we're just gonna get started on that. So the novel is codenamed Project Eros, and I decided to name it that because Eros is the Greek god of love, and it is a romance novel. I also really loved this tale of Eros and Psyche. I've never known how to pronounce her name, but I really liked their love story growing up. It was one of those Greek myths that I was like a little bit obsessed with. I wanted to sort of like honor it with the codename title of this book. But the book itself is currently on draft 2. I didn't vlog writing draft 1 because I wrote it during my first attempt at NaNoWriMo, and because it was my first attempt at NaNoWriMo, it was pretty chaotic. I didn't end up writing the full 50,000 words, but I did write about 40-something thousand, so I'll still consider that a win. And basically, I wrote through that November and then the December following it of 2023, 19 chapters of this book that is going to be about 40 chapters. So I wrote about half of it. But around the halfway mark, I realized I had made a fatal mistake that was going to require me to rewrite pretty much everything. So I decided to stop moving forward and go back and fix the mistake I had made before I dug myself in deeper. This mistake was just a pacing thing. I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but basically there's these two characters in the beginning of the series who are going to get into a little bit of a disagreement, and that's going to shape a lot of the future of the novel. And I had them get into that disagreement in, I think it was chapter 5 initially, because I wanted the pace to move forward. But then reading back, I was like, this happens way too quickly. And it doesn't make sense. It feels rushed and forced. So I'm going back, and now I've moved that conflict to about chapter 13. And that just requires me to do a lot of rewriting. Also, how cute is this? You should check out, I believe it's Kumalot Creations on Etsy. I may have pronounced that wrong. I follow them on Instagram and I bought this hat and it is amazing. And I just love to support smaller creators whenever I can. So go check out their stuff, especially if you're an Amphibia fan. This is a Darcy hat. So now that I have decided what I need to rewrite, I've begun the rewriting process. And I have scheduled this all out on my calendar because I'm that kind of a person. And right now I am in the middle of rewriting chapter 7, which is giving me some major issues. I'm much more of I write tough villains and edgy characters kind of a person, and that's why I picked a romance, because I'm bad at it and I wanted to challenge myself. But it's been really difficult because I decided to challenge myself. So while I think it's a really good thing that I'm doing this, especially because there's romance subplots in pretty much every story I ever write, and I've been really enjoying the process of writing a cute, sweet little romance novel and a standalone, because I always do series and it's sort of refreshing to do a standalone. I'm just really enjoying the whole process, but it is very much out of my comfort zone. And one of the reasons is that because I mostly write villains, because that's my strong suit, I like to write morally gray characters because I just find them easier and I enjoy it. I'm not so good at writing these heartfelt, cute scenes. It's very difficult for me. I have to rewrite them over and over and over again. I have also never tried to write a YA novel before. I've always just written adult sci-fi books. I think this is good that I'm pushing myself out of my comfort zone. I think it's showing a lot of improvement in my writing skills because I have to try something new. But I am currently stuck on a heartfelt scene, and that's not fun. It's not fun to be stuck. And I think my problem with heartfelt scenes is that they always feel trite. One of the things that I struggle with as a writer is subtext, because I want to fill everything with subtext. But it's really hard to judge, as the person putting the subtext into place, whether or not you've successfully made it subtext, or if it's invisible to everyone but you. And so then I find myself overcompensating for this insecurity by really laying it on thick, and then it's not subtext anymore. So right now, 2 of the characters are supposed to be making up after a fight. That's vague enough. I can leave that in. I can't write it. It's really hard. I've been stuck on it for a couple days, which I know doesn't sound like that long, but I've scheduled it out so that I have 3 days per chapter, which the chapters are fairly short. So that's usually enough time for me to do a chapter. But it's not enough for chapter 7 because I have written and deleted over 1,000 words for it already. So I'm just feeling a little bit like disheartened, but I think I may have solved my problem. So today, usually I take weekends off of writing. It's part of my new writing routine that I'm testing because I was hitting some creative burnout because I was just pushing myself too hard. I wanted to finish the entire novel in 3 months. That was not realistic. I'm now giving myself until like mid-June, and then I'm going to work on a different project because I have multiple projects going at once right now. And one of them is currently, I'm trying to publish it, like I'm taking steps toward that, and it's a comic book. So I have like the first 6 issues ready, but I don't have the rest ready yet, and I need to continue working on that. But I've decided to give myself more time for the novel and push what I have to do with that out till June. So I have a new writing routine, and these socks are really dusty. I think they're getting washed. Everything I've been folding is clean, and I just never folded it, but those are not clean. Anyway, my new routine is that I take off weekends, but I'm not taking off this weekend because I really want to keep making progress on chapter 7, especially now that I think I may have solved my creative block. I think my problem was that I was trying to have them say all of their problems aloud. I was trying to have them make up fully, and that's not how people talk. They don't lay all their cards on the table just because you had a minor disagreement. So I've decided that I'm going to be using my best frenemy subtext and trying to explore that a little bit better and take my time with their reconciliation. I don't want to make the same mistake I made the first time and rush things, because then I'm just going to have to rewrite it all in draft 3. Doesn't that already look better? Like, it's amazing how quickly I can make a difference in this bedroom, and yet I don't. I don't think I ever will. Showing it to you made me want to clean it a little bit. I had initially planned for this vlog to be about all the progress that I made in February. You know, chapters 7, chapter 8, chapter 9, chapter 10. No longer looks like that's what this vlog is going to be. I think it's just going to be about chapter 7. Allow me to explain that a little bit more. Last we left off, I believe I had been talking about how I was going to use my best frenemy, as I put it, foreshadowing. No, not foreshadowing. I just like foreshadowing. Foreshadowing and I are friends. What's the word? subtext, subtext. Now, I did do that, and that went really well. I'm very, very happy. Chapter 7 was making good progress, and then it had to throw another curveball at me. Now I have a totally new problem. The subtext scene, great, finished. I wrote it. I have not edited it yet. Maybe it's not actually great, but that's a problem for Draft 3 Ash. Draft 2 Ash just had to worry about writing it. Now it's too long. I don't know what to do at this point. The draft is just too long, and I'm not even done. I'm about halfway done the scene, and it's just way too long. Most of the chapters in this book are about 7 to 8, 9 pages long, somewhere in that zone. And that works because it's like a quick little sweet romance novel. However, this one is already longer than my normal chapters, and I'm not done it. And I'm trying to figure out why, because it's really throwing off the pacing of the novel, but I also can't really cut anything that I'm including, and that's making it too long. So I'm trying to decide if it's too long because all the chapters should be this long and I've been leaving out key details all along and didn't realize it till now, or if it's too long because I've put too much in this chapter. Now, the reason that the why is so important to me is primarily because if I've been writing this story and all the chapters should have been this long from the start, I want to know so that I can go back and fix that now instead of having to rewrite a bunch of things in the third draft. Part of me is wondering if the reason this chapter is so long is because I'm really writing out all of the surroundings, the description. This story has been pretty fast paced in terms of that. I feel like I'm taking my time with the story elements. That's what Draft 2 is all about. But Draft 3, I wanted to be about fine-tuning like dialogue moments, not doing a redraft. And I just don't know what a chapter means for me. Like, how do I know where I should split a chapter? I think that because I don't usually write novels, the structure of it is just giving me pause, and I'm trying to think about that because I really do want it to flow well, especially because the story is pretty slow, I feel like. It's a romance, but a good third of the book is like sort of it's a romance, but it feels a little one-sided. And then it's only about halfway that things start to really happen with the romance, which in the beginning feels more like a subplot, but is actually the primary plot. And I write comic books primarily. Now, if you want to see my comic book writing vlogs, I'll put a playlist up above. If the early ones seem a little bit rough around the edges, that's because those are my first YouTube videos ever, and I did not have good equipment, and I was not very good at editing. I think that these vlogs are much better. I really hope they're better, but I decided to leave all of the original videos up because I sort of like that if you go to my first vlog series, you can see my videos getting better as time goes on. And I like my channel is all about the realistic writing process. I do writing tip videos, but then I also do writing vlog videos like this, where I show what it's actually like to try and be a writer professionally, because the goal is that I will be publishing this novel, so that's why I'm so concerned about the pacing. But I guess if it's 9 pages right now, and my usual chapters are 7 to 9 pages, if it ends up being more like 14, 15, that's okay. I just really want the pacing to be good because I'm not a novel writer. This is me pushing myself out of my comfort zone very intentionally. I currently have a 10-year writing plan set up, and that's with me writing a novel a year. The realistic writing process. Too many ideas, too little time. So I think I should be writing a novel a year. I picked the wrong profession. Who knows if I'm even any good? I mean, I think I am. It feels pretty good, but that's subjective, you know? Art's hard. Okay, blah, 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 blah. See if the audio picks up. Just warming up. If you do awkward things on camera, it'll make talking to the camera less difficult. Is the lighting good? Starting filming is the hardest part of filming, and that seemed fitting for this because starting writing is the hardest part of writing for me. I finished chapter 7, woo woo, about a week ago, maybe more at this point, honestly. And I just have not sat back down to write since then because I fell so behind the schedule because chapter 7 took me an extra week than I had planned, and I felt all insecure about it because why did it take me that long? And what's stupid is I had an amazing time writing it, but I was just like so insecure about it, I guess because it was 2 pages longer. It feels so stupid now. I watched the last clip of the vlog back. It feels so silly because it ended up being 2 pages longer than my average chapter. So a totally normal length. It had a little bit of a different vibe than the other chapters, but that was just because it was in a different kind of setting. And all in all, it was a fun chapter to write, though it was difficult. But it like really threw me for a loop mentally, just because I guess it was difficult to write, so I became very insecure about it. I'm still very insecure about it, but that's a problem for draft 3 Ash. Right now I'm draft 2 Ash. I haven't written for like a week, even though I finished chapter 7, and that just got me more behind, and every day that I skipped made me want to skip more days, because each time that I didn't write, I had more to do, and the more that things built up, the less that I wanted to do it. I finally told myself I would write tonight. I'm going to work on chapter 8 tonight. That is a plan. The same way that I hadn't filmed this vlog in like 2 weeks, but I told myself if I just sat down and started, it would be a lot easier than putting it off for like months and months and months. So that's what I'm doing. I hate starting things. I hate starting things. It's always so scary, you know, especially like starting a new thing is like scary, exciting. Starting to get back to something you were previously doing is just daunting because you don't remember the last thing you talked about. You don't remember the last thing you wrote. It's just sort of this like annoying lack of progress that you know that you have to get back to. I'm sure that once I start writing chapter 8, I will be totally fine with it and I will be enjoying the process. So I'm trying to remind myself of that as well. Especially with February coming to a close, I had a lot more planned for this month than I actually ended up accomplishing. Like there was supposed to be a Project Eros vlog, this Project Eros vlog, going out tomorrow, but I didn't end up filming enough of it. I only have like 10 minutes, and that's before I edited it, and usually whatever footage I get, I only end up using like half of it, so an hour-long bit of footage becomes like 30 minutes. So I knew with 10 minutes, it would only be a 5-minute vlog, and I don't want to do those anymore. I want to have nice, big, beefy vlogs. Maybe I'll cut that out. Maybe it'll stay in. Who knows? But I'm just going to try and baby steps, you know? A little bit of writing, a little bit of vlogging, and just it'll build up. This is my vlogging progress. It's not a super exciting clip with lots of moving parts. I'm sort of just sitting on my bed, but you know what? That's okay. Baby steps. I'm filming. Maybe the next bit will be fun, exciting. Who knows? Future Ash will know. They'll probably tell you that it wasn't, but you know what? You shouldn't always listen to her. She's a little bit too hard on herself sometimes. I don't know. My sister's behind the camera giving me a look like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know. I haven't filmed in a while. Leave me alone. Hello. Seeing as oh, it's crooked. There we go. Seeing as I'm all dressed up to do a what writers can learn from video. So I figured I would just give you a quick update because my last update wasn't really an update on writing. It was more like an update on the fact that I haven't been writing, and this is a vlog about writing. So, you know, writing is, I'm gonna stop saying that word, but it's important. Okay, let's just spin you around. Ignore that. Ignore that pile. Continue to spin. Hopefully that's, yeah, there we go. Hi. So, I'm trying filming in my bedroom. Usually I film somewhere else, but it's very messy in there right now, and I figured, anyway, you're not here for that. I have been writing. So after the last video, the shadow from that is intense. After the last video, okay, it's not gonna be perfect. It's good enough. It's better than it was. After the last video, I actually did do some writing. Yay, me! I got back to work. As I said, I finished chapter 7, and the day that I filmed that last bit, I actually did go and start writing chapter 8. And chapter 8 is almost finished. I was supposed to finish it yesterday, but I had a D&D game, so I couldn't write, so I'm gonna finish it today. It's funny how much just starting again did. Like, it's now back into my routine. I'm writing every day, and it's only been a couple days. But that's a big leap from where I was just a couple days ago, which was not writing at all. So I'm pretty content with the current progress, just because there is actual progress. And I think that that's important to keep in mind. I might not write a chapter a day or something like that, but so long as I'm getting words on the page every day, that is good progress. Another thing that helped me break out of my writing slump was that I started doing a writing contest. Now, I only did one submission, and I didn't actually submit it because there's like a fee, but if you're interested, you can check out the Readsy blog, where they have short story writing contests every week. I wrote a short 3-page piece for the fabulism prompt that was going. I didn't submit it because I didn't feel like paying $5 to not win, but that's probably not the greatest attitude. I do think that from now on, however, I will just write one of their prompts, even if I don't end up submitting it, just because it's going to be good practice for me, and it's fun to get to play with things. Like my little short story, I played with a lot of things that I don't usually get to or have any interest in. It was like surreal and concept-based instead of character-driven. It was third-person omniscient, which I've never used before. And it was just like a short story, which I don't usually write, out of my comfort zone, but very fun, which is the moral of the story with this video and this book that I'm writing. I just really think that pushing yourself out of your comfort zone is important, so long as you're still enjoying the process. Like, if you hate writing romance, don't write romance. But I didn't know how I felt about writing romance and decided to give it a go, and now I love it. I thought I didn't like short stories, decided to give it another try, and now I really like it. I thought I would only enjoy writing character-driven stories, but this concept-driven short story was really fun to me. Just push yourself out of your comfort zone because you can surprise yourself. I have to film another video though, not this one. This one is gonna take me like another month to complete because progress is slow, clips are short, lighting is bad, you get the gist. If you're still watching this despite the gigantic shadow on my nose, the weird clips that have been thrown together haphazardly, thank you. You're a real one. It's funny. I went into this vlog like it's going to have a set color theme. It's going to have a underlying message. There'll be like episodes in a series. I'll come up with a title for this one. And now it's just the thing where Ash has a giant shadow on her nose. The lighting is bad and she's sort of like shielding her eyes from, it fell apart. My plans fell apart, but I'm still making progress. See, tie it all back into the underlying message of this episode. Stay tuned. Next episode coming sometime. But yeah, I do have to film. So I'm rambling because I don't feel like filming, which is ironic, seeing as I'm filming right now. But it's like almost dinner time, so I should probably do it. Okay. Bye. Hello again. See, you think that you haven't seen me in 5 seconds since the last clip, but I think I already filmed this. And then I forgot to turn my mic on. So there's literally no audio. It's like 3-4 minutes of me just like talking. What was sad is that I sort of thought it was good, but okay, we're gonna do this again. Hello again. I want to like hit all the same points, but I don't want to repeat myself. Okay. So I thought I'd just pop in, except it didn't end up just being a pop-in, it ended up being filmed 3 times, because I realized that I forgot my mic, and then I turned it back, well, I didn't turn the mic on, I turned the camera back on, I started filming again without the mic still, within like 2 seconds of realizing that I hadn't turned the mic on the first time. So now we actually have a microphone and audio. I'm happy. I just wanted to give you a little bit of a Project Eros update because I just finished filming my 600 subscribers video and I've got everything hooked up except my mic apparently, you know, because that's how that works. I finished chapter 9 yesterday, which also means I wrote all of chapter 9 yesterday. Because usually I write during the week and then I take the weekends off, but last week was sort of really busy for me, so I had to write this weekend. So I just wrote all of chapter 9 yesterday, and then I'm going to start on chapter 10 tomorrow, which is Monday. It's also March now. I've been filming this video for going on 2 months at this point, which is sort of funny to think about because it's probably like 20 minutes long, but it's 2 months for me. So I keep being like, hi, I haven't seen you in forever, but you saw me last week, you're probably honestly sick of my face. I wrote all of chapter 9 yesterday. It was sort of difficult because it's a little bit of like a filler-ish chapter. It's not actually filler, but it's just a slower chapter, and I'm very much like an action scene, which begs the question why I decided to write a cozy contemporary romance, but pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, I guess, which is literally the whole reason I decided to do it. So I guess that really is the answer. I'm very happy I decided to do that, but it's not easy for me sometimes. I keep worrying about pacing. I feel like the characters are good, I feel like the romance is cute, but then I keep worrying are the events moving too quickly? I'm not gonna really know that till draft 3. I'm excited to start writing chapter 10 tomorrow because chapter 10 is when things really kick off. I didn't even try for it to be like the first double-digit chapter, but it just worked out that way sort of perfectly. I'm very excited about chapter 10, but I'm also a little bit scared of chapter 10 because historically, whenever I write a chapter that I'm very excited for, it also kicks my butt because it's usually a hard scene, and I know next chapter is going to be a hard scene because it's like a very character-driven, awkward moment, big moment. Whenever the moments are sort of like big or involve this one character in particular, they're so hard to write. I'm talking about you, Jeremy. Anyway, you'll hopefully get that when you one day read it because I'm hoping to publish it one day. Several years down the line, but still, Jeremy's the worst to write and also as a human being. Maybe those two things are connected. Maybe it's just hard for me to write someone who's so casually not a nice person. I can write a malicious person, but he's just accidentally a butthole. What can you do? Maybe the next clip will be me telling you that chapter 10 was actually super easy to write. It only took me 20 minutes and it was totally great. Maybe I was dealing with some major writing insecurity for a little while. Actually, my mic says it's at low battery, so maybe this thing hates me. Anyway, I don't know why you're not sick of me yet. But if you're new here and you haven't gotten tired of hearing me talk about writing, then you should definitely subscribe because I have videos every week. Long form ones, and then multiple short ones a week. So if you want to get sick of someone fast, I'm the person to do it with. You'll be sick of me within a couple days, but temporary subscribers are still subscribers. So you should subscribe or head over to my Instagram and follow me there too if you want double the content and to get sick of me twice as fast. I will see you there. So I was dealing with some major writing insecurity for a little while. I was really hating everything that I wrote, just everything. And that's not a cool place to be at, not a cool headspace to be in as a writer, your progress just stops being good. You start being bummed. I got really weird headspace vibes and I was not able to write. So you know what I did? I solved my writer's block by reading. I was inspired to write Project Eros a lot by Heartstopper, both the show and the webcomic, but I never actually caught up to speed on the new stuff that came out for the webcomic last year. Went and over the last 3 maybe days, I just read all of the stuff that I hadn't been caught up on. And it's so cute. And also Tori coming out as Ace. Oh my goodness. It made my heart so happy, that scene. Just yes. Anyway. It's just so good. I actually bought Solitaire, and I'm going to read that because I love Heartstopper, and I need to start reading some of the novels. But that is a vlog for another time. Right now, I'm talking Project Eros. So I actually, instead of writing last night, I was just I didn't force myself. I just read Heartstopper instead, and I caught up. And after I caught up, I just suddenly had this burst of I want to write a story now. And so this morning I woke up and I wrote an entire chapter of Project Eros, and I was very happy about that. Also, if I keep glancing down, it's because this thing This is the battery. That little blinking light is telling me the battery's basically dead. So like, I'm just a little bit worried. I just want to make sure it doesn't die, and that I still get audio. I was actually 2 chapters behind. So tonight, since I'm still feeling inspired, I'm hoping to go in and write chapter 11 tonight as well. So that'd be 2 chapters one day. It was also a little bit of a longer chapter. It was like over 3,000 words this morning. So I'm very happy. Like, why do I keep crossing my fingers? Very just like happy that I'm making writing progress again. And now I get to get into the part of the story that I was really excited about, because beforehand I was like rewriting scenes for pacing issues that I knew were happening. Now I get to get into the part of the story that I'm like very excited about, which is like the actual romance bit. I just wanted to come in here and be like, hey, I'm in a good mood, so I wanted to record myself being in a good mood to put it on the internet. Okay, maybe it's a little bit weird what I'm doing right now, but you all are watching it, so who's really the weird one? Both of us, both of us. But yeah, so that's a tip, writer's block tip. Whenever I have writer's block, I will find that reading something that like makes me inspired to write automatically fixes my writer's block, because then I want to be writing, and pretty much as soon as I want to write, my writer's block goes away, because a lot of times my writer's block comes from either like insecurity or just like lack of motivation, and reading something that I like of someone else's tends to knock both of those out of the way for me. That's my writer's block tip for the day, and that's my progress update for the day. I'm gonna go before my battery dies. Really hoping to make some major draft 1 progress, because I need to. It's like, oh, not draft 1, draft 2. I need to make some major draft 2 progress, because like I was supposed to do draft 2 and draft 3 this year, and I'm thinking I will be lucky if I actually get draft 2 done. So we'll see.